So with this piece, I want to try to preserve as much of this grain pattern as I can, because it's going to end up looking really, really nice whenever I get the whole thing put together. So I'm just going to get as close as I possibly can to this sapwood and then just cut all that off. Since these pieces still have the live edge on them, I have to trim that down and give them a straight edge in order to continue trimming them down. And now that I have a straight edge on all the pieces, I can take them to the table saw and cut them down more easily and efficiently. Even though the table saw has a pretty straight edge, it's still not 100% perfect, mostly due to personal error. So I'm taking a planer and I'm just continuing to straighten that edge. That way whenever I glue these pieces together, that they'll be one whole piece. Now I'm just deciding which faces of these pieces I want to be the top of the table. And this cedar was pretty rotted on the inside, so I have to make sure to have all those rot spots facing the bottom. I just want to take this time to thank you for watching the video, and the best way to keep up with me and whatever I'm working on is following all of my social media pages. They actually saw the table before this video went up, so if you want to keep up with me and what I'm working on, then that's the best place to be. And also you can hit the subscribe button down below to continue to get notified whenever I have new projects coming out, and I'm hoping to have a whole lot more coming soon. Alright, let's get back to it. Here's where things start to get a little bit complicated. In order to cut the circle shape of the table, I have to make a little jig that lets my router cut in a perfect circle. Here I'm just tracing the bottom plate of my router, and then I'm marking holes to where I can put screws through. That way I can screw my router to this piece of wood. So if you remember your geometry lessons, then you'll remember that the radius of a circle is half the distance of the diameter. Here I'm measuring the different radius lengths and then transferring that into diameters. So for example, this table is 21 inches across. So that means I have to mark 10.5 inches from the center point of the hole of the router jig out, and then that will equal 21 inches whenever it spins in a full circle. It'll make a little bit more sense whenever you see me cut the circle out. Here you can see that I've driven in a nail right to the max amount of length that I can have with this blank for the table, and I'm also using a carbide tipped bit, which will really help cut down the circle of this table. And once I made one pass with the router and I knew everything was good to go, I just kept on going. Once there was enough material taken out from the router, I just used a jigsaw to continue cutting out the circle. Since I didn't really need to be exact with a jigsaw in the circle, it left this little ridge, so I'm going to be using a flush trim bit, which has a little bearing on the top which rides on the already smooth part of the table and will continue to smooth out the other part. There were a lot of different cracks and rot spots in these pieces that I need to be able to fill in with epoxy, and I didn't record that, but here's what the aftermath looked like. And then after that took 24 hours to dry, I just sanded it all down. Once the tabletop was completely smooth, I took a roundover bit in my router to give the top of the table a rounded edge, and then I took a chamfer bit to give a 45-degree chamfer to the bottom of the table, which makes the tabletop not look as chunky. And after all this was done, the table really started resembling something else. Here's my favorite part of any project. This walrus oil, not made with actual walruses, really made the color of this tabletop pop, and it'll continue to protect the tabletop for years to come. All you have to do is just rub it in and then let it soak in for 24 hours and then wipe off any excess that you might have. After I wiped off the excess oil, I put on the walrus oil furniture wax, which gives the top a waterproof coating, so if there's ever any spills on the table, then they won't be a problem. And again, you have to wait 24 hours and then you wipe off the excess. And then after that, the table is done. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and this is definitely giving me a lot of ideas for more things to do in the future. Again, thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe to see more. Thank you.